Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. BTM here, kicking off another exciting week of Age of Empires over this summer with the German civilization as per your request. It's a 2v2 on Great Plains. I will be playing Germany in blue, teamed with a buddy of mine who I actually play a little bit of treaty with in teal. He will be playing a Sioux, and we will be facing against a Sioux-Japan team with the Sioux in purple and the Japanese player in yellow respectively. And let me start off by apologizing. There was a smidgen of lag this game, unfortunately. Not quite sure why, and it really actually made a lot of little errors here. Now, I've done some German videos before, so it's not completely brand new, I guess, to y'all that I'm playing some Germans, but I didn't remember playing Germany really at all, so it was really refreshing for me to get into playing Germany. But if you're expecting this to be exactly like my previous German videos, I will apologize. I actually didn't go back and watch them, so I'm telling you, I'm taking this from a brand new straight point. This was maybe my second or third match with Germany, by the way. I had played a few on my own. I kind of got my feet a little bit wet, a little bit prepared for playing Germany, and then I got this team game. So that's what's going on. And I'm playing a team game, by the way, because you wanted more team games. I saw a lot of comments that said, oh, team games are good. So I decided to get a little bit away from the one-on-one. Now, one interesting thing I did there, notice, is I built that house with the regular settler rather than the settler wagon. The settler wagon gathers faster than the settler does, so it was a wiser choice to have the settler not building. That way the time, or to have the settler building, the settler wagon not building. That way the time was maximally spent for gathering resources. As you can see here, we kind of argued about herds. Well, we didn't argue. I just said, hey, I'll eat this herd, you eat that herd. And that was a really, really good little bit of a teammate exchange there. And that's one of the great things about this game. I felt Teal and I really coordinated really, really well. We've actually played each other. We met each other playing each other in Treaty. And it was a really, really late night, and I was really, really out of it. And he was, playing, and, I normally play Russian in Treaty, which, as you guys probably know, is overpowered. It's considered an OP Civ. And I was really tired, and they're like, dude, you can't play an OP Civ. And I really wanted to play some Treaty, even though I was exhausted. So I was like, sure, I'll play Portuguese. And I had never really played Portuguese in Treaty before. And I'm playing with these guys, who have mastered playing Treaty, and have it down, like, to a science, every little detail. And so I was just kind of like, whatever, and I didn't really tell them how bad or not good I was. So I just ended up playing and ended up doing really well. Our team lost, but it was because one of our other guys just got completely steamrolled. I actually was pushing really well and held my own against another player, and everybody kind of agreed, oh, wow, he was surprisingly decent, which was awesome. But that's how I met him. So needless to say, he's trying to get into some rush, and I said, you know what, dude, let's team together, let's play. Now, my Germany deck, by the way, as you notice, I have a lot of German decks, but most of them are treaty-based, does not have the team settler wagon card in it like it should. So I have a huge noob mistake there in terms of not having the team settler wagon. Definitely a massive error on my part. So I would say to you, if you're looking at the video and like wondering about decks, please do not copy this deck. I will continue working on this deck throughout the week, and maybe by Friday or Thursday we'll have a deck walkthrough. That way we can really look at the decks, and really by that point I've had some experience with them. Now, you're generally supposed to age to the second age, was Germany, with a 13 villager population, and I'm aging with 16. Now, I don't know why people say the 13 villager population. I feel like that gives you a really, really weak colonial age entrance. I mean, it's fast, but for a team game, I decided to go a little bit heavier rather than a little bit softer, if that makes sense. I am going to age to the colonial age with quartermaster, and while aging, I am going to shift all 5 settler wagons to food, and I'm going to keep working on getting that herd of bison closer to me. Now, here's an interesting thing about Germany, and something I didn't utilize well, but I've actually learned a little bit since I played this match. Remember, guys, I post-narrate. I learned that the hunting dogs upgrade and the placer mines, or the sawmills, depending, but especially the hunting dogs, is absolutely crucial to giving Germany its fabled, really, really strong second age economy. So that's something that I think I buy, or that's something you're definitely supposed to buy with Germany. Now, the general Germany outline I'm following is you age to the second age, the colonial age, with 13 villager population, but notice that I have already disregarded that, and then you age to While aging, you put all your settler wagons on wood, you build a house, you build a market, you buy hunting dogs. That's kind of the general gist of the strategy I'm following. And then from there, you just play as you need. It's not elaborate. It's not very good. So that's kind of, the first video game, or the first match of the week, I guess you guys can expect not to necessarily always be the best. And my apologies. I think I played decently, but strategy-wise, I wasn't following a fine-tuned strategy this game. I was just kind of having a good time. So that's something I'll definitely improve on. Now, you may have noticed there, I actually gave my ally, Sue, I gave him 200 gold. I got him 200 or 100 or so gold from the treasure, and I know that he's planning to go bow riders, which I believe cost 75 gold a piece. So I basically gave him almost enough to make 3 bow riders straight up. And because I'm going with a crossbowman, going a crossbowman pikeman strategy, there was really no need for me to actually use that much gold. So I mean, I could use it to make a few Ulane, but I decided, since Sue is really gold dependent and really cavalry dependent, it was a really wise choice for me to kind of give it to him. Now, he said build an FB, but I fortunately already had my villager on its way. My first card here, though, is going to be the 5 Ulane, isn't it? No, I look around and I think, but I do end up, I guess, deciding on the 5 Ulane. 700 wood is a really good choice. Maybe probably even a better choice. 8 crossbowmen is really good if you're under pressure. The settler wagon cards are fantastic, and this is kind of a little bit different from the little bit of time we just spent playing with the Japanese. Because when we played with the Japanese, the whole point of Japan was to send your improvement percentage upgrade cards rather than your initial to send your improvement percentage upgrade cards rather than units. But with Germany, it's all about the unit you send, and that's the settler wagon. Because settler wagons are ridiculously powerful, even though they gather. Or even though they cost 2 pop, they gather about the rate of 2 settlers. And I'm sorry if my voice just is being a little rough at points. I'm having a little bit of trouble here. So let me actually take a quick drink as we examine the market upgrades and keep watching the action unfold. Alright, I hope that didn't make too much noise on camera. My apologies. And you may notice I'm trying to take commentary a little bit slower, a little bit more measured, a little bit more deliberate, and a little bit more precise. So let me know what you think about that in the comments, if you will. So as you can see here, I got my first batch of 5 crossbowmen coming, and because there's no sign of an indication of a rush coming, and Japan generally is not necessarily the premier rushing civilization, I'm going to keep spamming out an army, and I'm going to start just taking out shrines on my side of the map. I really don't, having played Japan, just last week, and seeing the destructive power of Japan if they get shrines all over their herds, and knowing that my ally definitely needs the herds because he's a Sioux, he needs to be able to eat the herds. I do not want to let yellow have the shrines on the map. I do not want him to have map control. So that's going to be a very, very key, crucial part of our game plan and our strategy here. Unfortunately, I'm running a little bit low on food, a little bit lower than I should, and I'm not sure why, actually. I must have made a little bit of a boo-boo somewhere here or there. Just the strategy in general is not something I'm completely familiar with yet. Germany's a different play style, So, as you can see, the long-term game plan here is we need to obviously knock them off their socks, proverbially speaking. And the way to do that in a team game when there's a Sioux is to engage the Sioux's cavalry head up. Now, as you can see here, I'm going to lose a bunch of settler wagons like a moron. I let them get completely raided on by purple, unfortunately. Although it is good that we do know that purple's going with the obvious bow rider strategy. My units will decimate them, but as I was saying, the key to beating Sioux in any game really is fighting their cavalry. If they're massing it, is just straight up head up. They can't stand up. They can't afford to lose units, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry about that. Because when you're Sioux, your cavalry takes, 150, 200 resources ahead, depending on the cavalry. And then you then have to... you have to keep moving on the map using natural resources. You can't really turtle. You don't have walls. You don't have factories. You don't have, a huge, tremendous ton of options. So in order to beat them, all you really have to do is engage them with a much, much larger number. Whereas, my units are fairly disposable. If I don't care if I lose some crossbowmen, but the Sioux definitely need to obviously make sure that they do not lose any whatsoever cavalry. So in a team game like this, working together to attack, purple here is actually going to be a really, really bad situation for him because I'm providing a little bit of a meat shield and he's getting off these free shots, and purple won't really be able to actually replenish his units. Now, as you notice as he's running away, I'm trying to micromanage all my units to taking out the war chief. And the reason why is after that war chief is down, the rest of his units will have a lesser attack. Or not lesser attack, they'll have a lesser speed. My apologies. They're going to have a lesser speed. So if we can take out that war chief, it's going to make hunting on the rest of his cavalry a lot better. Now, I'm trying to tell him here, go, 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 push. I'm a big believer in pushing when you have the advantage. You know I love the tempo. And because we kind of have a 2-on-1 here, I think we're in a really good position here to take the advantage and win, or at least inflict irreparable losses on purple. As you can see, this is a long game, so don't think that it just, one and done, it's over. But this ends up being a tremendous fight. Now, as you can see here, he's trying to flee his villagers into the town center, and I guess that was a smarter place to flee them to, but we're actually going to end up being able to just start picking them off all over the place. And purple at this point, I mean, you got to give purple props here. He's in a world of trouble, but he plays on through. He perseveres, and I actually left this game. Not going to spoil the ending, but they did a phenomenal job. Definitely among the gutsiest and the best players out there. Now, he says to come back, and I don't know why in hindsight. I didn't like his decision to go back a bit. I personally would have kept pushing forward. I like to kind of keep the tempo and just raise everything in my pass, but he wanted to go back, destroy the corral, and then I guess just kind of keep pressure on them. So that was his decision, and I respect that. But personally there, I think we should have just gone straight for the town center and taken it out. However, not the end of the world that he chose to go back. When you feel like we have an advantage, I guess because they were better players, I guess he felt like he wanted to kind of wait it out and not rush too much to win. But I am going to ask him now, can we go for the TC? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, okay. So let's go on to yellow. Or Jap, I guess is what I say. And the reason why is we have a numbers advantage. When you're fighting a 2-on-2 and you stay together and you catch the other army 1-on-1, not only are you going to win because of numbers, you're going to take less damage in your actual victory. So that's really what's going on here. That's why we're kind of traveling together, moving around, and it's actually very fortunate for us that it is going this way. Now, what is unfortunate is that I haven't bought hunting dogs yet. I just ordered it, but I ordered sawmills first. I should have really had hunting dogs immediately before I even really did anything in the Colonial Age, and I probably should have had sawmills as well. Now, unfortunately for us, though, it does appear as though yellow is going to be able to get his shrines all over the map, and yellow is massing Yumi, which the Sioux is not going to be able to do anything against, just because bow riders are, what are they? They are ranged cavalry, and they'll get killed very easily by Yumi. So as soon as it became clear here that we were not going to win, or that the Yumi were going to do their thing, I believe Teal pulls back, which was very, very wise by him. Now here's what's really interesting. It actually looks like we're going to get in a world of trouble here. It did seem initially like, oh man, this is an easy victory for us, but as you can see there, their armies actually did a pretty good job, and I actually don't have a huge amount of my army left. Now, I'm actually going to have to keep staying there and engaging yellow to provide purple or teal cover for his escape. Teal, in the meanwhile, is going to pursue purple, not give purple any avenue for escape. On the downside, though, yellow did completely rout me. I didn't really do anything, and I lost my explorer in his town, and he said K back. So as you can see there from that little exchange, we definitely put a huge amount of hurt on purple, but then we really kind of messed up. We weren't able to capitalize on yellow, and we lost a needless amount of resources and men, which kind of set us back. So what we're going to do in the meantime is I'm going to at least start going for shrines. I think, all right, nothing better to do. Let's take out the shrines. Not only will I reduce Japan's population, I'll reduce his resource flow, and I'll just keep in my town center making villagers, taking advantage of the fact that I am indeed actually intact as an economy. And as you can see there's 4 shrines. That's 200 wood equivalent just sitting there. That's easily destroyable. Not to mention it's a resource flow will be taken away from him, and a population total that will take away from him. And I'm a big believer in map control and tempo, so I didn't want to just sit idle. So he wants us to go back to purple. I'm going to say 1 second. Let's get these shrines out quick. And now that was a huge part of the plan here. Remember, we're playing a very fluid strategy. It's really just about taking over the map and winning. It's not so much about I guess, the standard, follow this specific build order. So at this point, it's very important to me that we take out these shrines and really kind of limit Japan, because even though Purple still has his town center built up, he lost his big loss was the villagers and his cavalry in the skirmishes. He won't be able to replenish that. And I noticed here, by the way, I didn't have Team 3 Settlers. I realized that was an important card. So it's actually very good for us. Every little loss like this is going to put them behind. They can't really afford to replenish it. And just look at the massive units we have. And for me specifically, as you can no doubt tell, I have pretty much completely replaceable units. I can lose units with impunity and win. So it was kind of playing at this point. From this point on, I was a little bit sloppier, I guess. Just I felt pretty good, and I knew that I could pretty much just keep things going. So I didn't really worry as much as I should have, which was, a questionable decision, but it's how the game was played in the end of the day. So here we're gonna go to punch, or I guess do the final blow on Purple, hopefully, provided that nothing goes drastically wrong. Although I kind of suspect that Purple's on the bottom right side of the map, and I actually suspected that the entire game. It was unexplored, and there wasn't any pressure, because as you can see, there's always been a lot of pressure on my side of the map. I've had units walking around and been doing things, and we've kind of been exploring and putting a lot of pressure on there. There's no real safe place for them to be hunting on our side relative to, the other side of the map. So I kind of suspect that's where Purple is, but it was still important to burn his town center, if only to limit him and force him to invest another 600 wood into building it. Now, I did kind of go around that clump of trees rather than just following right behind Teal, which is a questionable decision, but I felt like it was a wiser choice that way. Maybe we can kind of like pinch her in, you know what I mean? Like a kind of like duel. He's coming from the left, I'm coming from the right. Look at this big attack kind of thing. But I guess that was just unnecessary. It was an unnecessary move by my part, just for fun. And I'm, of course, just building houses everywhere just because I'm too lazy to try to build them in a centralized location. Now, I said, now TC? Yes, excellent. So that's what's going on. But the game was interesting here because even though we had a huge score advantage, and at least to me, it wouldn't make sense for them to really keep fighting it out, but Japan's really a very strong turtle eating civilization we've seen before. So it actually does, it's very plausible that Sioux can build right behind Japan. Japan can turtle up and defend themselves pretty well. And that's kind of what's happening here, as we're kind of just taking what they've given us. Now, what I am looking at here, though, is I'm looking at the map and looking at shrine placement and location. And I'm just trying to see what I can do to really kind of inflict some losses. Now, as we can see here, there comes their combined army. So again, it's going to be the second time our combined armies fight, and Purple's done a pretty great job of getting a good amount of units out, despite not having really any plausible way to do it. And we definitely took a licking last time, and it looks like we're going to actually take a pretty decent licking this time in terms of just army combat. I think we actually have a little bit of a numbers advantage, but we definitely are not winning. Now, what I should have done there is I should have pressed my barracks hotkey, and then I should have, in theory, what I should have done is press my barracks hotkey, and then I should have pressed the hotkey for crossbowmen and just made them instantly. So that's an area where I could have done a lot better. But as you can see here at this point, there's a lot of maneuvering and a lot of lag, unfortunately. Maybe just because of the amount of men on the map, although that's not that many men. Fortunately, though, this maneuvering and lag appears to be it's not favoring us. Now, I tell Teal at this point, run, because it's very clear to me that I've lost most of my army. And I think what happens is he ends up not running away as fast as I would have liked. So I think I just start screaming at him in chat, like, get away now. Let's see. Yeah, right now I think I'm about to any second now. And the reason why, obviously, is Sioux cannot afford to lose Cav. If I lose all my crossbow, not the end of the world. I don't care. I look at my resource stockpiles. I have so much absurd amount. I'm really just getting ready to just start spamming as many as I can, and I need to. So I'm not perturbed at all. But for him, I didn't want him to lose any unnecessary cav, especially considering our advantage and our map control. So that's kind of why I yelled there. But all around the match at this point is just really kind of, I don't know. It was a lot tenser and a lot more it was really tense and really stressful in game, because it was kind of like, we can't kill these guys. Every time we go to like kind of finish them off, both of their armies are there, and both of their armies with the Japanese army is just too strong for us to take out. So that wasn't good, but it's not going to be the end of the world, because what we are going to start doing, or at least I'm going to start doing at this point, is I'm going to really just start massing units all over the map. I'm going to start hunting all over the map, and I'm going to start taking out people. I say that, of course, as I only have 5 units on the field at the moment, but Teal at this point is going to kind of rally up with me, I guess. And one good thing actually I noticed about having my Explorer dead in Yellowstown is it actually does allow me to see what's in the immediate area around him. And as I'm looking, I do see shrines, and I know this is what Japanese players do. You like to place your shrines on the peripherals of the map where people aren't going to expect. So I'm going to say let's start raiding, and the reason why is I felt like if we split up, I could take the one on the left, he could take the ones on the right, and we'll beat them. Obviously, that puts us in danger of losing in case both armies attack, but I didn't feel as though it was going to be the end of the world. Now, notice here, I pressed that damn button, that damn flare button, like 4 times, and it didn't work. It was so frustrating to me. In playing the game, I literally felt like I had pressed it 10 times, 15 times, and it didn't work. Now, unfortunately, I'm in a world of trouble there. As you see as cavalry, fortunately, we have Japan and the Sioux isolated, which is a good thing, which is, you know, we were about to make the mistake of splitting up. If we had, we would have been in a world of trouble. But here, as you can see, the Sioux is pursuing me with his units. I have 3 settler wagons there. That's the equivalent of a massive amount of villagers, and I am just desperately trying to get them out of the area and like walk them around and avoid the attack. And my hope is that we can beat Japan really resoundingly, and then hopefully do just enough to kill these cavalry. Unfortunately for me, leg spike there too. Dang it! But I'm trying to escape away and kind of loop back around to where the army's going to be. As you can see, we pretty resoundingly there. We cleaned up Japan pretty nicely. And I'm going to soon tell him, hey, man, you got to come go up there and run with your cavalry and save my settler wagons, which I like an idiot like get in a huge amount of trouble. Look, and I'm going to, unfortunately, have to let, I think, 1 die maybe here. Yeah, I'm going to let 1 die, but I'm alerting yellow to the situation, or teal to the situation immediately. I'm in a world of trouble. And I can't really go walk my units up there fast enough. I know he's cavalry, so I'd like to count on him to run up and save, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And my hope is that if Purple's so focused on killing those villagers that maybe we'll be able to kill his cav, because if his cav's off the field, I think we're going to be in a really, really good shape. But as you can see, Purple was actually kind of smart. He decided to disappear in the hills. I lost, I think, a settler wagon and 2 regular villagers, but I was able to save 2 settler wagons, which is really the most important thing. So, and I was kind of giddy a little bit at that moment. I was like, haha, I saved 3 of them. But all around, not the end of the world. Now, here's what we are going to do. Now we're going to go hit yellow. I'm thinking, you know what, I'm making units so solidly now. Let's go finish it off. And meanwhile, I'm going to use those 2 U lanes that I've had sitting on the peripheral edge of the map to go and start hitting. And that's kind of the plan here, just to really start finishing this off, because they've done a great job just not being killable necessarily. Granted, we haven't really kept up the most even pressure per se throughout the match, but at the same time, every time they've needed to have both their armies in one spot, it's been really frustrating, and it seemed like they've had both of their armies in that one spot, and that's really kind of disheartening, unfortunately. So we're going to kind of hopefully be able to neuter that threat here. Neuter that threat. That's a very peculiar phrase. That's pretty vicious. We're going to get out a pair of rusty scissors, guys, and we're going to neuter that threat. Everybody will be afraid of us. Ha ha ha. And as we can see there, I noticed from my dead explorer, and I have to press that button like 3 times, but they're clearly waiting for us masked. They expect it, and I laugh, but I'm not really going to change my strategy, even knowing that they know I'm coming. I don't see a reason not to. I mean, we have the numbers, and we have the ability to get a decisive victory. At least I felt like we could. We might not have had the ability to get a decisive victory. I might have been a little bit idiotic, a little bit cocky there, thinking, oh man, we have a decisive victory. We will just go on through and clean house. But unfortunately, that's not what's going to happen in this instance. We are going to have to keep the match going, as you can tell by the match time. And notice there, I actually have a little bit of crossbowmen out by my hunters, and I'm building houses as I need them, but I'm building them kind of around the peripheral just to give me a better line of sight, just so I can look around and see the map a little bit better. And sorry if my voice quality changed a little bit there. I was actually ducking my head a little bit while narrating. I was fixing my hat. I'm wearing a hat. I love hats, by the way, guys. Lately, I've really taken to wearing hats. I know this has nothing to do with the match, but the match has kind of been dragging on at this point, so I'm going to talk about my hat wearing. I never used to wear hats, actually, and it was just one of those things where I was like, I like my hair, but I don't need to wear hats. But lately, I haven't been a huge fan of my hair, and I don't have time to deal with my hair. I'm gone to college, so I feel really cool wearing my college hat, and so now I wear hats all the time, and I'm getting hats for, like, my favorite sports teams. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm a huge fan of the Los Angeles Kings. I'm getting hats for my favorite sports teams. I'm also then also kind of getting hats that are like more like color coordinated. That way, like, I have a red hat, so if I'm wearing like a red shirt or like a pair of red shoes, it kind of blends in. So I'm actually really trying to just like clean up the way I look. I mean, girls have been told me a lot before. Oh man, you're really handsome, or you're really well put together, and I like that. And I'd like to be more so rather than less so, if you know what I mean. So that's kind of why I'm wearing a hat. It was just really interesting, I guess, in my mind. I used to never really wear a hat. It was just like not the thing I did. It was like, no, hats are for weirdos. Who wears a hat? But I'm definitely wearing hats now. I'm definitely loving the hat wearing ability of me. Now, as we can see here, Purple's running into the town, and he's kind of got Teal a little bit flabbergasted, or a little bit uppity about it, but I'm not too worried because I have pikemen in the area and I can make men really quickly. I know I'm going to make more men and get them out on the field, and even if Teal loses his town center, I can just give him the resources to make another one. And meanwhile, it looks like we're shattering a yellow stronghold, and if yellow loses his base, then there's really no skin off our teeth in terms of winning, or it's really no problem for us as long as we take out yellow's base. So I'm not really too concerned at all about the purple cavalry running in. It's kind of the difference, because I know that any soldier I lose, I'll just replace. I know that he cannot afford to do that, which is unfortunate for him, but it's just how it is. And I meant to call Minutemen there, and I misclicked. Unfortunately, I hate misclicking. I feel like I do it a lot more than I really should. But as you can see here, we're in Yellow's town, and really are just starting to take advantage and just finish this off. Now, unfortunately, it would appear, if I remember correctly, Purple's just running through, passing on the way, and that's kind of a bummer. But then he runs back, and that's kind of, I got lucky there because there was a ton, and I mean an absolute ton of units that I could have lost. That would have been a bad thing if I had lost them. So it's a good thing that he ended up trying to stay in the town. I had a villagers a little bit north. Sorry, my voice hurts. Let me take another drink. Anyway, what I was trying to say, let me say it concisely and more better in 30 seconds. I had like 6 villagers above my town. If he had just ran there with his horses, he would have gotten them, but he didn't, so they're safe. There we go. My apologies, by the way. I've had a little bit, like just a hint of a sore throat this week, and if you can't tell that I'm trying to fill up the rest of this match, then let me hint, I'm trying to fill up the rest of this match. But I've had a little bit of a sore throat this weekend, which is kind of good that I'm only uploading Age of Empires 3 on Monday through Friday. It gave me a little bit of time off, but I'm not sure why. It's making my voice sound deeper, though, which I really like. I like that kind of baritone edge in my voice right now. I used to have a pretty high voice, if you guys remember, especially from my earlier videos. But and I can't be going through puberty because I'm in my 20s. I'm not like 25, but I mean, I've been in my 20s for like 9 months. So, I mean, I'm almost 21. So, I mean, come on, it's a little bit late to be having voice changes happening, but I'm not going to complain. I like my voice this deeper. And I did like the fact that if you're looking at Yellow's Town there, he does have the building rotator mod, which allows him to rotate his buildings and place them however he wants. Now, what is going to happen here, though, is I am going to finally take my units. You notice I have 146 population, only 37 villagers. I have over 100 military units on the map. I said, what did I say? Oh, I already have pikemen on the way. Correct. Yes. But I'm going to start taking advantage of the map. Now, again, they're going to manage to hold their town center, or Yellow's Town, which just frustrates the living dickens out of me. But they're not going to be able to replace their units like we are able to. So, I'm not going to worry about... I said No fight, our eco is so ahead. Okay, yeah. So I was just telling Teal, let's just kill him. But in hindsight, Teal himself probably should not have run back with those few men. That's really just like throwing away 1,000 resources for him. For me, it's not that bad because my units are cheaper per se, and they were already there. But probably should have added more men to the fight. Should have let the men already there die. Now, what I am going to do is I do know that he had units over there this entire time. So I'm going to send one army to go flank up to the top, and I'm going to send this other army. No, I'm going to make more units here first, but then I'm going to send another army to flank the right. So I'm going to have an army going left, an army going right, and an army preparing to attack the center. And really just at this point cause a world of hurt for purple and yellow. Anyway, one thing I'll say here, though, as I'm flanking and I'm finally aging to the Fortress Age, which I probably should have done a long time ago, but this is really just kind of a derp match. I totally just forgot what I was going to say. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I didn't want to release this as a two-parter. Even though it's on the longer side, I felt like this wasn't a... I felt like it wasn't worth dividing into two parts just because I felt like it wasn't that suspenseful. Even though we were unable to finish the deal, we never really... even though we were unable to finish a deal, we never really were threatened, I felt, in terms of winning the game. And unfortunately, I really suspect that nobody's watching at this point. They're going to kind of watch and see like, oh, do they get control? Yep, they win. Okay, then they eventually have to finish them off. Maybe you'll watch like see the length of the video and think, oh man, there's got to be an epic comeback in there. That would be kind of cool, if you guys were like, intrigued by that. But all around, it's not probably... it wasn't worth it to me to make it a two-part video at this point. So that's why this video is dragging on with my painful throat and therefore very diminishing narration skills. Not to mention I am tired and not doing an amazing or fantabulous job of speaking to you guys, which is really a bummer for me because I want to be a better narrator. I've been trying to use better vocabulary words. I've been trying to call units by their proper names and doing a better job overall. And I am sorely disappointed that it would appear that in this match I have not done things such as those. But there's always a good chance and a good time. The practice of narration definitely helps, and it's kind of good to actually sit down in front of a microphone for a longer period of time and work on doing a good job. Now, as you can see there, both purple and yellow are in his town, obviously expecting an attack, but I'm not going to quite attack them yet, and that's because I have two pretty sizable armies elsewhere on the map causing, in my mind, a good amount of harassment or potential harassment. So there really was no point in my eyes to really rush, I guess. Ooh, I got a Facebook notification on my cell phone. I'm so cool. I'm so cool. Not really, but there was no reason in my eyes to rush back into Yellowstown. Let's just pick up some stuff, and I said I'm gonna sack purple, and I really meant it. He didn't necessarily need to follow me, but he ends up doing. Oh, I tell him to go for yellow. That was not a good choice. What did I flag? I don't know. I told him to go for yellow, but I don't think he knows what he's doing. Anyway, I'm happening to walk through the woods where I suspected yellow was, and yep, there it is, a wonder, exactly like I suspected. And I guess sometimes you gotta expect what the enemy's expecting, or not expecting what the enemy's not expecting, or I have no idea. But that side of the map was a one side. I mean, I was always like marching units around on my side. I had a few U lanes here or there, and I was gathering from my side of the map. That side of the map wasn't being touched. I think yellow or teal was actually farming, unfortunately, so he never really kind of raided or looked there. But what I will do here is I will upgrade my units. Oh, my throat's killing me. I will upgrade my units, and I will keep pushing on and win the game. And he's clearly building his shrine, but it won't matter because his shrine will be destroyed by me and my evilness. So all will be well here. And at this point, we now even have skirmishers and many exciting units. And I'm actually going to split up my units in my army into a top half and into a bottom half. And how exciting is this, ladies and gentlemen? And I'm so sorry. I mean, narration at this point kind of getting dull and boring, but I don't really expect anybody to be watching it, so I'm really just talking about whatever the heck I want to, which is cool because it's my video. Not really. Speaking of my video, I just want to let you guys know, thank you guys so much for the support. And look at this. Looks like the boys are back in town, but I'm actually not going to send my top army or my army on the far right to go support that fight. I'm actually going to keep pushing with my army on the right, or on the top, and I'm going to keep pushing with my army on the right, and then let the central armies do their thing. And the reason for that is their losses are irreparable, as we've mentioned so many times before. I mean, come on. We know that they can't replace our units. Why am I even mentioning it again? But they can't probably do much to recoup their losses, so I didn't really feel like, I felt like it was more worth it to get some economic damage on them and to really cause some pain and gain for them, which, by the way, was an excellent movie. I saw Pain and Gain. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I saw it twice, actually. I saw it with my roommates, and I saw it with some friends back home. That's really just a cool thing to go do. I'm going to split those Minutemen away there, by the way, to go just kind of pick off those villagers hunting, even though they're likely to die very easily. It's not the end of the world. As you can see here, we're kind of finishing up that central fight, and it looks like we might not actually win. But even if we do not win, it does not matter, because I'm putting pressure on everywhere else. They have an economy. I haven't really bothered to stoop so low as to just fighting their army straight up. I'm not letting them dictate the place and time of the battle, I guess is what I'm saying thus far. However, I'm going to definitely have to send more reinforcements to go help out probably, but it's not the end of the world. At this point, Purple does recognize that it is in fact GG. I was picking off his settlers, so he is out, and Yellow is probably going to resign super quickly. And that was this match. I'm going to take another drink. My throat's killing me, guys. I'm so sorry. I know this narration hasn't been good, but seriously, my throat is not doing goodly right now. There we go. Oh, man. I'm telling you guys, it is really hard sometimes to sit and talk. It does take a toll on your vocal cords. But, so just going to keep doing our thing, winning the game. So I guess what I should talk about, maybe, rather than just wasting your time, is what we're going to do in some later videos. We're going to do some Germany mercenary strategies and some Germany, we'll do some Germany mercenary strategies. We're going to do some Germany fast fortress, and maybe we'll do one more crossbow, expo, rush kind of thing. But we'll hopefully be able to bring both of those. But that's kind of what I want to do. I want to hopefully showcase some different strategies with each civilization each week I play them, rather than just have the one boring strategy going on every single time. Now, as you can see at this point, Yellow is still being squeamish at this point, or Teal was, and I said, don't hit and run, finish him. And this was just because, I felt like, I do say, and I did even tell him earlier, don't fight head up, but he really needs to at this point. We need to just end this. This game went on way too long for being a 2v2, especially considering the fact that we inflicted some miserable losses on Teal to begin the game, or not Teal, on Purple. That is just a noob mistake there. I gotta get that right, don't I? But so we're gonna hopefully just keep up the pressure. Now, as you can notice, again, Yellow fought off my attacks in his town center, although I will say, in all fairness, they weren't necessarily the most coordinated. There was just kind of throwing in a few units here and there all over the place. It was actually kind of pretty easy for him to kill, but my whole hope was to actually kill units rather than to kill villagers rather than to kill military units. I wanted to cripple his production, so that's why I did that, like that, in the way that happened. Goodness gracious. I forgot how long this match is. My sincere apologies to people who were hoping for a quick match this week, or at least right now. Oh, there we go. It's over. GG. And he decides to resign. The inevitable was indeed, in fact, inevitable. And he was running out of places to put shrines, really. I think that's a huge part of it. But so that was a good match. It was a lot of fun. And apparently my friend's mother's arm's broken, so he can't play again. And I got to go render and narrate this anyway. So that's what's going on. And I love the building rotator mod. It's so much fun. It just makes your buildings look good. And as you can see here, I had the most military units, but I didn't kill the most. And I lost the most. I didn't have the most resources. I didn't do a phenomenal job, actually. I did a pretty job. But I played this really late at night, and I'm narrating it with a hurting throat, and I really should stop whining, come to think about it. But I guess my whole point is just to work on being able to speak what's on my mind and narrate seamlessly, and I just burped there. My apologies. I burp as I tell you about my great narration abilities. Great. Anyways, so it was a good match, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't do an amazing job, but again, if I had actually been pressed or felt threatened, I would have definitely not just endlessly just pumped out crossbowmen. I would have actually made cannon and done a better job. But it was just kind of one of those, I knew I could slug it out the ugly way and win the game, and I felt in control, so I did. Although, as you can see there, I did a bad job at making villagers. I did a bad job. I definitely should have put the one infinite settler wagon in my card, I think. And so, all around, it was a good game. It was a lot of fun. And that's kind of it was enjoyable. So I know it's a little bit of a longer match. I know that this is not going to be watched all the way through. Nobody's watching it at this point except me. And I gotta say, it's a beautiful video to watch. I greatly enjoy it. And you guys are missing out on one of the most beautiful 40-minute YouTube videos you will ever see, because we are just looking at the beautiful Great Plains and filled with veteran crossbowmen and just having a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time. And by the way, I didn't even have the most unspent resources, which shocked me. Yellow was very, very good for being Japanese. Of course, he was a Smurf account, but who cares? Anyways, thank you for watching. And today's quote of the day is, "Thus, the skillful general conducts his army as though he were leading a single man, willy-nilly by the hand." Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, BTM out.